Welcome to Sabor Astrology with T and Shay, a podcast for the soul. Today we'll be talking about the current cosmic energies. And without further ado, I'd love to pass the taza to T for the transits of the week. Welcome, T.
Thank you, Shay. It's so good to be here with you always. And with all our listeners, welcome. So we have not so many things, but the energy is high. The energy is so big. The year, however, we only have a few transits to talk about or the packing power. The first one we're going to talk about is starting April 1st is our favorite Mercury going retrograde. We'll get scared. That's the one that everybody knows about. Even if you don't know anything about astrology, people know Mercury in retrograde. They're like, oh no, I'm not going to do anything. But of course, we have to do things, right? Because we're continuing to live and it's until the 25th. So that's like 25 days and some days before and some days after, give or take. So it's like you can't just put your life on hold. So thinking about, retrograde in Aries, we think about Aries as like wanting to start off everything with a bang. It's like we're ready, we're going for it. And Mercury retrograde says, oh, wait a second, take a minute, go on pause, just check over what you're doing. Not telling you not to go forward, like I just said, we have to live our lives, but this is a good time to assess who we are, where we are, what it is that we plan to do, and whatever it is that we endeavor in, that we're giving a good start to it. We're giving a foundation so that it's not just a flash in the pan, right? So that we can be more Taurian, even though I shouldn't use the word Taurus here, to have more of a steady and predictable flow as we do whatever the endeavor is that we're engaged in. So my example of this is not about food, which that's your forte, right? Is talking about the food. You're so good at that, Shay. I'm talking about like gardening is what I thought of because in April, we start gardening and I know for myself, I can speak for myself, but that was the image that I got was like going to one of these, landscaping centers and buying plants and getting all sorts of things that I want to garden for, coming summer. It's April, and that's where my head is. Well, that's intuitively the best place to be. It's like I have to think, oh, wait a second, what's my sunlight like? What is the shade like? Are there deer that's going to go and eat those buds like they did to me last year on my peonies? I finally had a big peony bud, which it takes about 3 years for some plants, peonies, to grow these gorgeous buds. And the deer came and ate it because I didn't think about, it needed to be fenced in. So this is what I'm talking about. It's just like, yeah, go for gardening, go for whatever it is endeavor that you want to go for. But just take a minute, assess, reassess. Retrogrades are a great time for us to just take a moment for our own good and for whatever that we are hoping to manifest. So that's what I've got for Mercury retrograde in Aries season. What have you got, Shayla?
I love it because you're pausing and you're redoing and you're replanning, rethinking life. You're rethinking, you're replanning, especially with Mercury retrograde in Aries. It's all about replanning what we want to do, what we need to be doing for the self, and how to do it. So it brings that opportunity to speak on those things, even to like do some self-healing, to focus on clearing the mind. For some reason, I could work very well with Mercury retrograde because that's when I usually speak out or more outward with my thoughts and what I have to say and I don't know, I like communicate more during those times or I write more. We could use this retrograde to really take that take that time to rest. You don't have to do a lot. You could do the more simpler things of life. And as I'm speaking, I'm picking up the image of the card of the Two of Wands, which is like a person standing looking out at the abyss of like what they're going to do next. And that could be something for us to consider. We can slow down. And of course, Mercury in Aries doesn't want to slow down. It wants to go really fast, but it will slow down as Mercury is in retrograde. So take this time to replan, rethink, and redo the things for yourself.
Perfect. So then on the 27th of March to April 2nd, we're already in April. I love this. The Sun in Aries conjuncts Mercury in Aries. Mentioned so it's the 28th to the 31st. Sun in Aries conjuncts Mercury in Aries. So the Sun in Aries energy is forceful, it's pioneering, it's bold. And it meets Mercury in Aries, who's pretty much the same energy and brings the communications out assertively with a touch of self-will. People with Mercury and Aries might believe that the messages they bring others are correct, that they must be heard from the source that it's coming from, right? Because they're so self-assured, these Mercurian Aries people. However, remember that Mercury is about to turn retrograde, and it's not that we're wrong or anything like that, but it's just like, well, take a minute again, pause before disseminating the message that you believe needs to be heard. Take time to filter out, sit with your messages, whether it's emails, snail mail letters, or signing your child's permission slip for a field trip. Check it over first. Check to see what needs to be amended before you sign contracts, right? You may find out, oh yeah, that you get yourself in a uproar because you have to make your child lunch and have to send your kid to lunch on this field trip, and then it turns out that they're having lunch out or something like that. So just take a minute to look at what it is that you're signing, whether it's something like that or whether you're signing for that house that you've been waiting to close on for the longest. Just take a minute, we want everything instant in this society nowadays, right? It's like I need to have this done right now. I can't wait. And it's good to wait because you get to see all these little intricate details that otherwise we might miss. So that's what I've got.
I love that society is really on a Dunkin' run all the time, so this is going to show us patience, especially as T mentioned, Mercury making its way into retrograde. It's going to really reflect on how we are slowing down again for the self. What are like our ideas, understanding our ideas and not always right? They're not always the correct ones. They're not always have to be said. It's okay to take that time to acknowledge that. And because this is all in Aries, this is all the self. We want to push that energy out, but we have to have an understanding and how to push that energy out. Anytime Sun and Mercury together, it's almost like the social butterfly, this really, really big energy that comes up all about communication. So we might feel that we are what we say and what we think. And it's important to evaluate that again as Mercury goes into retrograde. Are we really what we say we are, or is that just a projection? So just keep that in mind. And we always have to keep Mercury retrograde at the foundation of all of this because it starts to play a role during this time as well. So what has been in your mind that you feel really tied to? What ideas or ideals have you tied yourself to? And kind of letting them go. It's almost like you're letting the doves go into the air, freedom, and really feeling anew as Mercury goes direct in April, towards the end of April. So see how that works out. And yeah, and that's all that I got.
That's great. That's really interesting because that jives really nicely with Venus and Pisces sextiling Uranus and Taurus from the 27th to the 28th. So this is just about the same time, like right before. In this, for this transit, what I'm seeing is Venus and Pisces. She's romantic, right? She's wearing eyelet, maybe a crown of flowers. And she wants love, but she's vague in what this might mean, what this love means, right? So it looks pretty in the fantasy, and she welcomes that. I got this idea that she's sitting in a restaurant with Uranus and her date might be picking their teeth, and she's like, she likes how they look in the mirrors, right? She likes how they look in the mirrors that surround the restaurant so that she might overlook some things. Uranus is a wild card. Uranus has nothing to lose. Uranus is like sure of themselves. They're just going to come and make things happen. And Uranus strikes with lightning. And things are never the same again after that, right? And we've been dealing with Uranus and Taurus for quite a while now, and we will continue to do that, right? So Uranus reminds Venus that something bigger is at hand here. The house, whether it's the house of feeling or actual building, may come down. Okay. However, Venus and Uranus can be friends. They're sextiling. They can get along, but they both have to be aware of the power of the potential, right? The potential power of destruction that can take place before rebuilding can occur. So this power, this Venus in Pisces, she could be vague. She has some ideas, but she has this picture of what she thinks it is, right? And Uranus can come down and make big changes. It can, shake the power of your foundation. So, just be sure that you're ready. We're not talking about not enjoying yourself during this period. It's nice to be nice. It's nice to be in a restaurant where there are mirrors all around and you're just enjoying yourself and you're enjoying your dessert or your drinks, whatever that is. However, know that there's more that can occur here. So just like they say, hold on to your seat because you're might be ready for a big ride here. That's what I've done.
Yeah, Uranus coming, it shakes our foundation. And to add to tea, the flavor of this transit is like walking into a candy store. This was a little bit of the opposite, but the same as teas. Is this great opportunities for us to like enjoy the moment, to again enjoy maybe that restaurant, that food of that plate that we have in front of us, and enjoying the sweetness of life. And as I was connecting, I perceived that this transit can bring us to a meeting point where we can interact with new people, new friends, new opportunities in the horizon. And it can also shape our current relationships differently. So it can, maybe there's some changes that might be happening or something that we really need to deal with, and it can bring that little bit of that jolt energy that Uranus wants to bring in to change us, to create better, maybe create better understanding with one another. Because again, Venus speaks of relationships, but it can also be a very sweet time. So let's enjoy the duality of those two things. And I feel if we do, we're more open and ready for what's to come.
I know whatever it is, it's sweet, right? Whether it's the candy store, the restaurant, like that tray of desserts that they bring to you, it's going to be sweet. Just be ready. So then the next transit, which is the last transit we're going to talk about today, is Mars and Pisces conjuncting Venus and Pisces. And this is from the 27th to the 29th. So this is like really like we have 3 days here, right? The 27th to well, actually, there's a couple of more days to the 31st. But, all of these energies are acting, influencing each other. So Mars and Pisces can be compassionate, it can be empathetic. It reminds me, I had the vision of an athlete at a triathlon who realizes that the competitor that's swimming is floundering and can be in trouble. So this warrior decides to put off their own race so that they can help the other being who's floundering, right? We all see that, like you see races and this person stopped because the one who was winning went off the wrong way, and this is that kind of warrior energy. It's like if you're sure of yourself as a warrior, you can do that. You can be empathetic, right? So along with Venus and Pisces, I see this, it's conjunct and they bring something lovely to the situation at hand. I see this as a very loving, energetic time. We can enjoy this time sharing the better part of ourselves in conjunction with a smoother and more like an affable couple of days. So it's a sort of relief from, I don't know, I think there's a lot of fear going on. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world right now. Um, so I'm seeing it as a time where you can have a relief of the unknown, a relief of, we may have been waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it's like it's okay. Like there's this feeling like it's okay. So my suggestion is to lean into these energies, right? Because like I say, it's not going to be from March 27th to March 29th exact, right? It's going to flow a little bit before, it's going to flow a little bit after. So lean into this, lean into the compassion, lean into the empathy. Are you Mars? Are you Venus? Who are you bringing this energy to whatever your situations are? And it can be a beautiful balancing act when you have the yin and the yang here together conjunct in Pisces, which is of the emotions, which is mutable. So I can see that they're shifting together, and that's what I've got. What do you got?
Going back to the balancing act, it is a balancing act, and this is also can be a balancing act of the subconscious mind. What has been lodged in there, and how can we bring the mind? I mean, the mind is divided. We have two parts of the mind and many other parts in between that we can bring together, that we can harmonize as we are looking at Venus and Mars. Also, what are our actions versus what are our passions? Like this is a very passionate kind of energy. And again, like this whole week, the overall energy I'm picking up is to coming together, no matter if there's a division, finding that connection, that togetherness. And with that, it brings more peace, it brings more harmony. And again, this is like during like eclipse season, and we need it. So let's try to do it. Let's try to be more aware of how to bring balance even in eruptions or chaotic moments. How can we maintain the core? This is the energy that wants to come in. And it comes in where it's no longer dividing us, but bringing us together. So that's all that I got for this transit.
Yeah, I just want to add, I mean, I'm so glad that you brought up the eclipse season, that this is eclipse season. It's not eclipse Monday the 25th and April the 8th, right? I think that, we see social media and, people like, yes, it's this day. It's a season, right? This energy is going to go for 6 months, maybe a year, and be aware of that, of the significant changes that are going to take place. And usually change does not take place overnight, right? It takes us time. And we've been moving toward it, and we're going to be moving away from it, but we're going to be moving into the next season. So just remember that. And I think that that's the way it is, that there's no demarcations in any of this. Like we give you dates, we look at the zodiacal wheelhouse, right, as demarcations. We don't live like that. We flow and we move and we change and we shift. So, yeah, that's what I want to bring forward. When you said that about the eclipse, it's like we're in a process, we're not in an event. So
Yeah,
that's what I've got.
absolutely. And it's a evolutionary change for all of us.
So those are our transits for this week. Let's see, still doing readings. Go on to teresavarela.com and I'll be happy to read for you. And I think that's what I'm going to share for myself this week. What about you, Shayla?
Same available for readings in person. Please let me know, also by phone and by virtual visits. To remind everyone to head over to Patreon. We have the exclusive content and check it out. We will be posting the Aries season. Stay tuned for that. Remember to like, share, subscribe to our channel, share this with other people, send it to them by text, let them know, and support us. Supporting us is good, as we are an independent Latinx astrology podcast. So your support is appreciated, and con mucho, mucho sabor. Sabor Astrology. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Sabor Astrology with T and Shay. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.